Right now, right now. 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 Oh, I got a real good feeling.
We try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We got to add a little addendum to the show map today. So we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. Well, what's happening? It's been increasing over the last 50 years since the government has been Hey guys, what's going on? Jebb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto. That would be the outro. Wow, just everything's going crazy today. Welcome back to Coffee and Crypto, guys. Today we got a great show lined up for you. As you guys know, today the Federal Reserve is coming out with their rate hike announcement, and we're going to be finding out how much they are going to be raising rates. That will be happening at 2:30 Eastern this afternoon. But today we're going to be talking about whether or not that is priced in and whether or not we're going to see a massive breakout to the upside, or are we going to see stagnation or movement to the downside following that movement. Guys, here's the deal. The effective federal funds rate, which the Federal Reserve sets about every 45 days when they meet, is extremely important because it dictates the cost of money in the entire U.S. economy. How much people are able to borrow is normally determined by a lot of factors, such as credit score, such as history, such as former bankruptcies, such as those things, but it's also determined by how much interest they have to pay. If you're going to be taking out loans on money, then you need to know how much interest you're going to pay, because if you're going to have to pay a ton of interest, well, then you probably can't afford to take out as much money in loans. And that's not the only thing that the effective federal funds rate dictates. It also moves around something called the Dixie, which is known as the dollar currency index, and helps to curtail inflation, where we're bringing inflation down, helping the U.S. dollar be stronger against a basket of other world reserve currencies. And in today's stream, we're going to be talking about how that effective federal funds rate being increased by 75 basis points could have a massive impact on the Dixie, which then in turn could have a huge impact on Bitcoin. We're going to be looking at the correlation between the Dixie and Bitcoin today to show you some of their inverse correlations over the last couple of weeks. Some very important information you're going to want to see over there on the chart of Bitcoin. We're also going to be talking about how a judge has ordered a probe to investigate whether or not Celsius was a Ponzi scheme. Very interesting article. And Deribit just got hacked to the tune of $28 million. What does that mean for investors? We're going to be talking about all of that and more in today's episode of Coffee and Crypto Live. If you guys do enjoy today's show, make sure to smash that like button and make sure to stay tuned, because we go live 5 days a week at 10 a.m. Eastern every single weekday, and we are very excited for that. By the way, before we jump into it, the interview with Kevin O'Leary went great yesterday. Was really very thankful that he was able to jump on a Zoom call. We talked for about 45 minutes. That interview, I believe, is going to be going up on November the 11th. I've not confirmed anything yet, but I'm pretty sure we're going to put that out on Veterans Day, because just so you guys know, we will be off on Veterans Day. That is a Friday, and we'll be taking off, so there won't be a stream that day, but we'll probably be putting that interview up that day to make sure that you have regularly scheduled content on that Friday. So be looking out for that. It was an incredible interview, and he's got some hot takes that I didn't necessarily agree with, and so I kind of pushed back a little bit. Really interesting interview. I really enjoyed it. Got some cool investing ideas and in markets that, just to kind of narrow it down, are not the stock market, not the real estate market, not the crypto market, but another kind of market. I wonder what kind of market that could be. Well, you will find out in that interview. So stay tuned, because Kevin O'Leary is coming on the channel more than likely November 11th. But we're going to start the stream today, as always, by reading some green names and, of course, seeing who was first. Let's see. Who was first today? Let's see. Who's on first? Who's in chat? No, I'm kidding. Crypto Ben Franklin's in chat. Good morning, everybody. Grand Roofing Incorporated. Grand Roofing Incorporated is in chat. I like that. I just really like your name. Good morning, Jebb. Good morning, all. It's a beautiful day to be alive. It's always a beautiful day to be alive. You know, that's something that I think about a lot, is that there are difficulties and there are challenges in life, and there are seasons in life where things are more easy, and there are seasons in life where things are harder. But the thing I always like to think about is that just about no matter how bad it gets, So long as we're alive, we've got air in our lungs, we've got hopefully water to drink, hopefully food to eat, hopefully clothes on our body, hopefully a roof over our head. Everybody hasn't been as blessed as I've been in my life to have those things, but I've always had those things, and so I'm very thankful for that. And you know, whenever life gets hard, one of the best things that we can do is just go back to basics and say, man, life is difficult, but at least I have the basics. At least I have what I really need. You know, I might not have everything that I want, but as the philosopher Mick Jagger once said, if you try hard enough, if you try sometimes, you just might find you get what you need. Anyway, we also got Mitch Shaw in chat. Say good morning, everybody. Justin Eubanks in chat. Shout out to you, my friend. And by the way, office hours over on Club DeFi went great yesterday. We got to talk a lot more about Elon. So if you want to see some of the things we talked about in office hours yesterday, go over on my Twitter. I broke down Elon Musk's $8 a month verification proposal, which, by the way, we actually need to talk about that also today because that came out after yesterday's stream. I forgot that that's actually today's stream's news. So we got even more to talk about. We're going to have to run quick, guys. We got a lot to cover today. We got Crypto Red Fox in chat. Haven't seen you in a little bit. Good to see you, my friend. Crypto JMP, I'm here on time. Yes, welcome. I, the Beholder, Brad Geidel. Grand Roofing Incorporated again said 0.75, almost certainly. Kevin O'Leary yesterday was certain that it would be 75 basis points, so we'll see, but I'm pretty sure that's what it's going to be. Crypto Red Fox said, good morning, crypto family. Glad to see you back, Jebb. Almost unsubscribed, but I did, and I had to step away from everything due to passing of my father and wasn't handling it very well. Man, I don't know if there is a way to handle that well. That's golly, that's awful. That's awful. I'm really sorry to hear that happen to you. Hopefully it was peaceful. Be praying for you, man. Anyway, Adam Rourke also in chat. I have the Beholder in chat. Gia S in chat. John Douglas said, hey, Jebb, how are you? I'm doing well. Queen said 75 is the new 25. That's accurate. We're going to talk about what we predict the next several rate hikes are going to be. We're going to talk about that today. A lot to discuss. Make sure to smash that like button. By the way, I already got 500 people watching. Thank you guys so very much. Veronica Gainey also in chat. Matt C's in chat. Crypto Vets in chat. We got the whole gang here today. Got the whole gang. The gang is all here. I think 75 is priced in, but a speech for prediction of December will pump or dump. Yeah, I agree that is going to be pretty huge. I've also got a mellow fellow somewhere in chat. I don't see him, but shout out to him wherever he is. I see Justin Eubanks referencing him, but I don't know where his name is. So shout out to a mellow fellow. Flare Staking also in chat. All right, guys, we're going to dig into this. We got a lot to talk about. Let's go ahead and start off with FOMC equals fear of missing crypto. That's a good way to put it. We're going to start off with the hot news of the day, and that would be about the hot wallet over at Deribit. As you guys may or may not know, the crypto exchange Deribit is a huge, massively popular exchange, and they just got hacked to the tune of $28 million. So we're going to talk about what this means for their clients and also for the exchange over here on CoinDesk. Take a look at this article. Crypto exchange Deribit loses $28 million in hot wallet hack, and they pause withdrawals. This just always seems to be something terrible. Just whenever somebody pauses withdrawals on an exchange, it always seems to be bad. We're going to talk about Celsius over here. They did the same thing, and 3AC and everybody. Deribit has said the client's assets have not been affected. The funds are seifu, in the words of Changpeng Zhao, one of the big CEOs in crypto Twitter. Cryptocurrency options and futures exchange Deribit has been hacked with 28 million being drained from its hot wallet. Golly. The company tweeted that the client's assets have not been affected, but withdrawals have been temporarily halted as the exchange makes security checks. This is something that might tip you off at the beginning to say, oh no, they're insolvent now because they lost so much money. Not necessarily. $28 million is a ridiculous amount of money, but they're not necessarily insolvent because they do apparently have reserves. The company procedure is to keep 99% of our users' funds in cold storage to limit the impact of these type of events. The hack is isolated and quarantined to our BTC, ETH, and USDC hot wallets, Deribit wrote on Twitter. Well, good deal if they got that in cold storage. Deribit hot wallet compromised, but client funds are safe and losses covered by company reserves. Our hot wallet was hacked for $28 million US dollars earlier this evening, just before midnight UTC on 1 November 2022. This is something that I actually really like about that exchange. Keeping 99% of users' funds in cold storage, that is a wonderful policy. Good on you, Deribit. Probably saved you hundreds of millions of dollars here. Deribit became the latest in a long list of crypto companies to be targeted by malicious hacks. October was the worst month ever recorded, with $718 million being stolen in the first 2 weeks alone. Deribit remains in a financially sound position and ongoing operations will not be impacted, the company added, before saying that the loss will be covered from company reserves. So if you are a trader over on Deribit. According to Deribit anyway, they seem to be completely fine, although they are $28 million poorer in the reserve department. So that is obviously very unfortunate, and whoever hacked this, you know, it goes without saying, return it, dude. What are you doing? Not cool. But nobody's going to listen to me on that. They got $28 million, so what do they need to listen to me for? Unfortunately, this kind of thing is a fact of life. Sam Bankman-Fried over at FTX proposed a model that he calls the 5x5 model, where they would basically hack an exchange and then return all but 5% of the hacked funds, and then keep that 5% as essentially a bounty for finding an exploitation in the exchange. So if this hacker were to follow Sam Bankman-Fried's model, then I guess they'd get to keep, what, $560,000? I highly doubt they're going to do that, but I guess Sam Bankman-Fried, if that policy were to be used in this case, it would be good. But the issue is you're negotiating with hackers that don't have best interest of anybody at heart. And why wouldn't they just keep $28 million? That's what I don't understand. Anyway, first of all, just don't hack things in the first place. It's just a jerk move. It really is. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump on over to CoinMarketCap here. Take a look at the market, see what they're doing, and then we'll go on here with our stream. BTC currently trading at $20,409, up 0.16% over the last 24 hours, down 1% in 7 days, down 11% in 90 days, down 57% year to date. Ethereum doing pretty well, however. Over the last day, it's down 1%, up 1% in the last week, and down only 4% over the last 90 days, but it's actually down even more year to date than Bitcoin is, having started the year relatively high. If we look at Bitcoin, we can see that it's still sitting in this this ascending triangle pattern right here, but you can see it's trending very much so towards the uptrending level of support. It's not spending a lot of time up here around the resistance. It's spending the majority of its time down here around the uptrending level of support. And the reason that that's concerning, guys, is because if we do not see Bitcoin start breaking to the upside here, or at least start moving back towards the flat level of resistance that we have right here, then we're going to run into the problem where we're constantly hitting our head against, I guess, our feet against this uptrending level of support. And as you've learned in CT2A, as you learn in Club DeFi, as you learn in the content we put out here on the channel, the more a market tests the same uptrend or downtrend or flat level of support or resistance, whatever it may be, the more it weakens it. So far, we have at least 1, 2, 3, and then now 4 tests on this uptrending level of support. And it's hard to argue that we're breaking, it's hard to argue against the fact that we are breaking through that uptrending level of support even as we speak. You can come down here and draw this very sharp downtrending level of resistance right here, and then you can draw this uptrending level of support right there, and that leads us to see that there is this massive bear pennant that Bitcoin is contending with because we've been moving to the downside when we entered it. So there's quite a lot of bearish momentum coming in to play right now. But one thing to also keep in mind is that on Luxalgo, we're also under a sell signal. We've been under a sell signal since right here, confirmed with trend catcher. We've been under that for quite some time. We are in a confirmed downtrend there. And then we also have our take profit zone right down here starting at 20,250 that goes all the way down to 19,950. This is the take profit zone for this short. Remember, all 4 of these signals are nullified because this buy signal was never confirmed by green trend catcher. So you can nullify all 4 of those signals because you use the indicator to confirm itself. You never want to use just one indicator, but remember, Luxalgo is not just one indicator. It is an entire package of like 30 indicators. So you can use it to confirm itself, and you can also confirm it without outside forces such as, well, the bear pennant I just showed you, and just basic general trend analysis of where the market's going. Another thing to take a look at here would be something called the EQ cloud, and we can also look at the Neo cloud here, which is another part of Luxalgo, which I think is really amazing. You can see that this that we saw the EQ cloud, which is this cloud right here, as I talked about on, I think it was Monday, we saw it eventually flop over. It eventually had a bearish cross. That pretty much confirmed in another way that this sell signal was accurate. We had a sell signal, trend catcher turned red. We saw EQ cloud turn red. It's all fine and dandy. Now, one thing also here that I've never shown you guys on the channel is a relatively new feature on Luxalgo. It's called the Neo cloud. You can see it right here. It's this box. And this essentially gives you some zones to pay a lot of attention to. If you start getting massively above these zones, then you can think, okay, we're probably going to come back down into them. If you start getting below them, then you can think, okay, well, we're probably going to turn around and move back through them. And if you're sitting right beside them, then that going right through them, then that indicates that you're in a position of major sideways action. And that indicates that you should be looking at a breakout at some point in the future, but potentially not yet. You can even see down here, for example, we were sitting in the Neo Cloud right here, but gradually getting out of it over and over, and eventually we broke to the upside using Neo Cloud analysis right here, and also the orientation of the market in relation to the trend catcher. You would have been able to predict after we saw this strong buy signal, and even had been anticipating it before that a break to the upside could be coming relatively soon, especially with an unconfirmed sell signal that you can see right there. So that's a little bit technical, but I just want you guys to understand that there's a lot going on with Lux Algo that's going to help you in your analysis, and that's not even to mention Lux Oscillator down here. One thing to keep in mind with Lux Oscillator is that it helps you to understand something similar to what NeoCloud is, but this gives you a lot more information. You can see we're currently in general trending to the downside and have been since Tuesday, which was, this morning, and we've been moving to the downside here. And we've seen a red cross here, another red cross here. We saw a bit of a green cross there, but even going out to a slightly longer term time frame like the 4-hourly chart, you can see it's just been all downhill right here. And we're not even on the 4-hourly chart, we're not even back down into the Neo Cloud, which would be sitting right here. And we are just barely managing to maintain this strong buy signal. And that could get invalidated any minute now if we started to break down to $20,000 or slightly below. So Lux Algo is giving us quite a bit of reason to be skeptical about the hourly chart. But as I said, it's not all about technicals today. It's also about the Dixie, and it's also about fundamentals. So let's take a look at the Dixie here, and then we'll move on and start talking about some of our more fundamental things, such as the Federal Reserve rate hikes coming out at 2 p.m. Eastern today, and the most likelihood that it will be a 75 basis point rate hike and what that will mean for crypto. But first, I want to show you another chart here. It's a chart that we've been talking about quite a lot recently, and it is none other than the US dollar currency index, also known as the Dixie. You can see here is the last 40 years of the Dixie. This shows us the history of the strength of the dollar against a basket of other national currencies, such as, some of the major currencies of the world. The US dollar obviously being one of them, but this is tracking the dollar against those other currencies. The US dollar has been performing exceptionally well ever since June of last year, and if you'll remember, that's right around the time that the Federal Reserve started hiking rates. I almost said raking heights. No, excuse me. They hadn't been hiking rates here, but they started moving into rate hike territory back over here, and in fact, we can even see that by just going over here to a new chart. And we can see where the first rate hike was by typing in EFFR, effective federal funds rate. And we can see right here that you can see I have some drawings up here from when I was doing 25 and everything. These are the different rate hikes. But the first rate hike came in here March of 2022. So if we look at the Dixie, March of 2022, right around here when we started seeing those first rate hikes, man, the US dollar just took off against the other currencies because it was having the brakes slammed on it with those rate hikes. But the interesting thing that I want to show you here is what happens when you compare Bitcoin to the Dixie, even on something like the shorter term time frames. If we come up here and hit new price scale, this will bring up the Dixie, the US dollar currency index, against Bitcoin. And the interesting thing I want you to see here is that whenever the Dixie, this is basically just a line graph, and these sideways movements, it doesn't record data on weekends, just like the stock market. But you can see here, whenever the Dixie is going down, even on the shorter term time frames, Bitcoin's going up. Whenever the Dixie is going up, even on the shorter term time frames, Bitcoin's going down almost to the same degree. Like if the Dixie's going down a lot, Bitcoin's probably going up a lot. If the Dixie's going up a little bit, Bitcoin's probably going down a little bit. This is a trend that's pretty common in Bitcoin as you go looking back. For example, right here, Dixie's doing well. When it bottomed out, Bitcoin was topping out. When Dixie was doing poorly, very poorly, Bitcoin was doing very well. When Bitcoin's doing poorly, or I guess because it's a causal relationship between the Dixie and the dollar, we should say when the Dixie's doing well, the Bitcoin ends up doing quite poorly. This is something that takes place quite a lot. You can see right here, the Dixie had been rallying in a major way here in September, while Bitcoin was sitting right down here around lows. Now, it hadn't gone through a big downtrend in that time because it was already so close to the bottom, but it was having a lot of trouble. You can, just continuing to look back here, Dixie's doing well, Bitcoin isn't. It's a very common trend, and if you go out to like the weekly chart and you look at the history of the weekly chart also, we talked about this. I even have the chart still up over here on BLX. When the Dixie's at historic lows, Bitcoin's at historic highs. When the Dixie is at historic highs, as you can see in these time periods right here, for example, Bitcoin's at historic lows. And that's the concern, is that with the Federal Reserve being so hawkish, and they have reason to be hawkish, and we're going to talk about that here in a second over in not this article, but I think I have an article right here talking about job openings and the state of the global economy. They have every reason to keep hiking rates to get that inflation under control, because they have metrics telling them, okay, the economy is doing pretty well. We can afford to keep hiking rates because the economy is not struggling as much as it had been. So we have the ability to continue moving those rates to the upside. Guys, it's very, very important that you understand how the government works so that you can know how to make the most money in cryptocurrency, because making money in cryptocurrency is directly related to the regulation of the United States government, even if you don't live in the United States. And that is why we have a sponsor for our channel known as none other than Anthony Price. He is a cryptocurrency CPA who is going to help you understand how to do your cryptocurrency taxes in a way that protects you from two different things. These are the two biggest, in my opinion, threat factors for any investor in crypto. Number one, overpaying in taxes when you had a multiplicity of different ways to not pay that much in taxes, usable in a way that you could use the tax code to pay less money in taxes legally. That's the first threat that somebody faces in cryptocurrency, is overpaying to the tune of 10, 20, 30%, $10, $20, $30,000 to the IRS when you could have held on to that if you had just used a professional like Anthony Price to help you keep your taxes low. But the second threat factor is you not setting up your, and this happens a lot, and most of the time the IRS just doesn't realize, but I don't think we really want to play with that gamble. The other thing that you can do by accident, I'm not saying anyone would do this intentionally, is underpay in taxes or just not pay taxes on a lot of transactions in the first place, because you don't really know exactly how to navigate the system. The IRS doesn't have a solid way of taxing Bitcoin and cryptocurrency yet. It's very hard to do. It's very hard to track it the correct way, and especially with thousands of transactions, it can get very difficult to track crypto the way that you're supposed to. Anthony Price is going to help you with both of those things by helping to make sure that you are compliant, but also make sure that you can set up tax structures and systems that help you to pay the least amount of money in taxes as possible. So make sure to check him out with the link in the description box down below. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and read chat here for a couple of minutes, and then we're going to jump into some news relating to the effective federal funds rate. Do appreciate all of you guys tuning in. Coming up next, we're going to talk about that Fed rate hike and what it looks like when the market sees that hit. Let's read some chat here. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you are joining for the first time, welcome to Coffee and Crypto. We go live 10 a.m. Eastern every single weekday to bring you the latest in cryptocurrency, technical, on-chain, and fundamental analysis. And we also dabble in geopolitics, and we talk a lot about Twitter over the last week, and we've got some things to talk about on Twitter again here in a little bit, and why Twitter has absolutely sucked at capitalism over the last 10 years, and how Elon hopefully is going to be able to turn that around. Go Vols 9-0 this weekend. Good for them. Good deal. Let's see. Crypto Mini Bike in chat. What's up? John Douglas said, "Hey, Jebb, how are you?" I am doing well, thank you. I've got my coffee right here, and it's Coffee and Crypto, so cheers. Love coffee. I love coffee. God feeds the birds, Matthew 26 through 34. Amen. He absolutely does. If he loves the birds as much as he does, then how much more should he love you, a human? Jebb is back. I miss you, man. Glad you're back and looking healthier than ever. Loving your glow, broski. I'm glowing? Oh, thank you. Red Fox, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. I don't think it's Shabbat, but Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat is the Hebrew word for this, where the word Sabbath comes from, for anyone who doesn't know that. Shannon Sharp in chat also. Another beautiful day in paradise, Troublesome Creek said. I got to bed late last night, so forgive me if my brain's cross-wiring itself a little bit. Let's see here. Freedom Advocate said, "I'm okay. I can't smell or taste anything." Tyler Main, thanks for asking. Sorry to hear you're still sick, Freedom Advocate. We're praying for you, man. Instead of hacking, how about a nice game of tic-tac-toe? Perfect, because you can never actually get beaten in tic-tac-toe if you know how to play it. Tic-tac-toe is a game where you should never lose at tic-tac-toe. Yes, because of you, Jebb, I got closer to God, and my dad did too. His body was broken, and he was ready We had a heart-to-heart talk last year. He told me that he was ready for the next chapter. Man, that's so amazing. That's so great to hear that he was a believer. You know, death has lost its sting when you're a believer. That's what the Bible says, and that's a beautiful thing, because that's one of the things people fear the most in this life, is moving into the next and the uncertainty of what's to come. And as a believer, I don't have to worry about that, because I know that I'm going to be in my Savior's arms when I die, because I have believed. And you can too. You can too. Go read. Here's a verse for you. Go read Acts 2:38. Peter is talking to the masses at Pentecost in that chapter. Cashy Cat said, life is good, just super busy with work, fam, and church. I get that, man. Definitely get that. We're definitely getting 75 in now. Yeah, I agree. Jebb's information is awesome, and him putting Christ first is even better. Hey, man, he's my first priority above everything else. How'd the interview go yesterday? Hope it went good. Went amazing. It went really, really good. Very excited about it. That clapping probably just peaked the microphone and just blew up everybody's eardrums who's on a headset. Let's see. Let's see here. Let's read a couple more chats, and then we're going to keep going. I don't call a rate pause a pivot, though. Fair enough. Yeah, the terminal rate is what Kevin said. Kevin called it yesterday. Kevin O'Leary called it yesterday. Yeah. Good deal. All right, let's go. Okay, let's go ahead and jump on into the next round of things that we're going to talk about. We have a lot to talk about today, guys, by the way. And make sure that you go check out Anthony Price. You can get a consultation with him with the link in the description box down below. And don't forget to sign up for Lux Algo. That link is down below as well. You can get 20% off with the coupon code Jebb, Jebb, at checkout. Let's go ahead and jump into this. We're going to talk about the Fed, because we've been discussing the Fed for some time, and we want to make sure that we get through all this. And then we got even more crypto and Twitter stuff to talk about coming up later. It's funny, I sat down to write this stream, and I'm like, man, I can't find anything in the news. And then all of a sudden, I have 15 different things to talk about and not enough time to talk about all of it. So let's keep moving here. Yahoo Finance said, here's how the Fed rate hike can move markets and whether to expect a central bank pivot. With inflation still soaring above the Fed's target 2%, central bankers today are expecting to stay vigilant in their inflation battle in making a fourth consecutive 75 basis point move. Most people have pretty much guaranteed that that's going to happen. One of the things I wanted to show you in this article down here is the number of job openings. This is insane. The number of job openings right now is absolutely ludicrous, and employers are not trying to let go of their workers. They're trying to hold on to them. There is a massive labor market right now where people are trying to get jobs, which that, coupled with an unemployment rate that's not as bad as it could be, indicates that the economy is actually doing somewhat well. At least that's what the metrics show. I wouldn't necessarily agree with that assessment, because I think people are getting stiffed when it comes to things like housing prices, energy prices, and the like. People are having a very hard time paying for rent, paying for homes, and people are getting pushed out of the American dream faster than ever before. Maybe not faster than ever before, but faster than they have been in a very long time. And that's having a huge impact on the market right now. But the thing to keep in mind for you is that the Fed is looking at something like a massive amount of job openings with a decently low, not a very low, but a decently low unemployment rate, with things like 2.7% GDP having come out recently. And you run into that question of, well, why should they slow down? Shouldn't they go after the federal? Shouldn't they go after that 8.2% inflation really, really hard? And that's essentially what they're doing. So at 2:30 today, their announcement's actually at 2 p.m. today. At 2:30 today, they will be Jerome Powell will be having the press conference and kind of giving some hints about what's going to happen next. So let's talk about what happens next. Of course, he goes on that press conference at 2:30 Eastern time, and he's going to be more or less giving us an idea of what we're going to be seeing on December 14th and also on February 1st when we have more rate hikes coming out. Most people believe that the rate hikes will plateau somewhere between 4.75 to 5.25%. I would tend to agree with that. Even what we see over here on CME Group tends to agree with that. If we look out several months in the future, which you have almost no certainty of what the Fed's going to do in this time frame, it's even predicting with a normal distributional bell curve here of about a 5 to a 5.25% effective federal funds rate, just shy of where inflation was reported last at 8.2% on that core inflation. But the question is, what do those next rate hikes look like? Well, let's look over to Canada. Yes, I'm serious. Canada. Let's look at Canada here because Canada has an interesting history here of what it did with its rates. On March 2nd, 2022, we saw their rate go from 0.25 up to 0.5%. They had a quarter percent, 25 basis point rate hike come into play. Then we saw the same thing happen, except the meeting was April 13th, and then Canada moved rates 50 basis points, then another 50 basis points, then a full 1%, then 75 basis points, and then just last week, they came out at 50 basis points, and if they were to come out with a 0.25% rate on December 7th at the time of their next meeting, then they would plateau or start to plateau up around 4%. And it seems like Canada wants to plateau up around the low 4% region. And that indicates that Canada and honestly several other major nations around the world are probably going to be looking at plateauing in the low 4 region and relatively soon. So if the United States is front running everybody else and having rates go up to 5% or more, then that has a couple of implications. First and foremost, you run into the concern for Bitcoin that the dollar starts getting ridiculously strong because these other nations will not be hiking rates as hard because their economies are not as large and strong as the United States, so they can't afford to be masochistic in their monetary policy for as long. So what does that mean? That means the US dollar, being the world reserve currency, and the Fed wants to keep it that way, they're going to try and get the inflation on the US dollar under control a lot faster than these other nations that might plateau around 3 to 4%, whereas the Fed is willing to go to 5, maybe 5.25 at their terminal rate, at their peak rate where they pause before they actually start lowering rates maybe late 2023, early 2024. The reason that's so important is because basically what the Fed is doing is they're trying to be more hawkish than everybody else. They're trying to raise rates faster and higher than everybody else because if they can get the US dollar back under control first, because remember, they're one of the first major central banks to start hiking rates. The ECB came in quite a bit later. The Bank of England came in quite a bit later. They start hiking rates first. They're hiking rates more aggressively. They're going to hike rates higher. They want to get inflation of the US dollar back under control to keep the US dollar in a very strong position, kick that Dixie up to a massive level, make sure the dollar has hegemony so that the United States solidifies itself in monetary policy over the next decade. And this actually ties into global geopolitics as well. The United States wants to position itself right now with a ridiculously strong dollar when you have an aggressive Russia and you also have China undergoing massive demographical changes, undergoing huge financial hardships, and this decade is their pivot point. I know this seems off topic, but it's not. China right now has been eyeing Taiwan very closely, and they're kind of waiting to see what's going to happen in Ukraine, whether or not Russia is going to get backing. China's probably getting the message, hey, don't become an aggressor state because the entire world will turn on you. Nevertheless, China has this decade to try and make a play to be the superpower for this century, or their age bell curve just inverts, and they have so many people that are older that are retiring and so few young people to pay for them. They turn into like an animal that's ravenous and backed into a corner, and they get themselves in a very bad spot. So China wants to make a play this decade. The United States realizes that. The United States realizes that there could potentially be some kind of fracturing of the relationship with NATO and some kind of fracturing of the relationship with Europe post-midterms coming up here in 6 days. And they're also trying to position themselves economically to be as strong as possible to lay sanctions on Russia and get them to back off of Ukraine so that the United States solidifies its geopolitical and military might around the world. That's the game that the United States is playing right now, and they're playing it through the federal funds rate. The reason that that's important is because the Fed wants to get that rate high based on strong economic data, such as a lot of job openings, such as low unemployment rates, such as GDP turning around and being positive over on the quarter year over year that we just saw the advanced metric come out for last week. They want to get that US dollar very strong so that we solidify ourselves economically, because make no mistake, the United States is at war right now. It's at an economic war against Russia and against China. Not a shooting war, not a violent war, but an economic one for sure. And the strength of the dollar has a lot to do with that. The trade-off on that is that when the Dixie is very strong, Bitcoin typically falls. And so that's the hard part for us, is that we need to have something happen to help Bitcoin move into the next bull market. Kevin O'Leary had 2 major legislation items that he thinks are going to jump Bitcoin up to over $100,000 in the next couple of years. You will see what he had to say about that in the interview coming out on the 11th, so stay tuned for that. But the point is, with the Dixie continuing to rally, with the Federal Reserve continuing to hike rates because they're trying to fight this economic geopolitical battle and try and stay ahead of everybody economically and keep the currency the strongest in the world, especially with other nations like China, primarily China, trying to take world reserve currency status from them. The European Central Bank obviously would love to do that as well. They want to have a very strong dollar, and right now is the time to do it because they've already got a casus belli, if you will. They've already got a cause to battle inflation and keep the dollar strong while everybody else is losing strength in their currency. They want to lose strength in the dollar slower so that they can position themselves, the United States, we, I guess, can position ourselves to be as strong as possible in the next decade financially. Never let a good crisis go to waste. That's the maxim of pretty much every single politician, and I think that's part of the game that Jerome Powell is playing right now. So at 2 o'clock, we'll have the rate hike. It'll almost certainly be 75 basis points. The next one, that's what I want to talk about as well. The next rate hike is more than likely, in my opinion, going to be either 50 or 75 basis points. It depends on that CPI data coming out on the 10th. CPI data, I believe, comes out November 10th. When that comes out, if that CPI data is very good, if we've seen core inflation drop down to 8.2%, 7.8%, then we might only see 50 basis points. I don't know if you've seen gas prices with how high energy prices are right now. But you also have to keep in mind that housing prices are slumping a little bit. It's possible that core inflation could come out at 8% again, and we're just sitting sideways. And at that point, you almost guarantee that you're going to see a 75 basis point rate hike come December 14th, and you might not have your first drop of 50 basis points until February 1st. And that means that we'd have to wait until February 1st to get any kind of bullish news coming out of the Federal Reserve, and you would probably see interest rates hike all the way up to 5.5 to maybe even 6% because they're going to curtail down to 75, then to 50, then to 25, then to 0, then they're going to pause, and then they're going to start dropping it more than likely, because if you look at the history, this is how it plays out almost every single time. They kind of plateau, and then they kind of curve off and they drop very quickly. Or they just drop it entirely and just drop it off a cliff. That's possible too. The point is, the way that they play this game, very important. I think the rate hike today is almost certainly going to be 75. The next one, I'd put over a 50% likelihood that we're going to have a fifth 75 basis point rate hike come December 14th as well. But we'll obviously keep you guys up to date on all of that happenings on this channel as we cover it. So let's go ahead and read some chat. We got over 1,000 people tuning in right now. Thank you guys so very much for stopping by the channel. If you are new here, make sure to smash that subscribe button. Also, make sure to hit that post notification bell so you won't miss a single stream here. And also, hit that like button. We've got 330 likes, 1,000 people watching. I know that we can get that up to over 500 likes here in the next couple of minutes. Do appreciate you guys tuning in. We're going to go ahead and read some chat here, and then we're going to keep on moving. Let's see. I'm going to pull up the chat over here on this screen. I've got the stream computer over here and then my laptop over here. So we're streaming on the laptop, the stream computer set up over here. So I've got 2 computers, 2 mouse and keyboards, and not enough room on this desk. So getting that set up. Let's see. All right. And tell me what you guys think about that. The game that the United States, I believe, is playing geopolitically, trying to make sure that they're as strong. Let's see. Like the vid, guys. I like that comment. I think you should. Peter replied, "Repent and be baptized, every one of you, in the name of Jesus Christ for the forgiveness of your sins, and you will receive the gift of the Holy Spirit." That would be Acts 2:38. Somebody went and looked it up. I love it. God has told us to live our lives according to Proverbs 22:7. The rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is servant/slave to the lender. This is what my wife and I live by. Yeah, it's true. Most of the financial gurus that you see nowadays, the advice that they're giving comes out of Proverbs. Like, seriously, you want most of what I tell you, most of what Dave Ramsey tells you, most of what most of the people that talk about finances tell you, they're applying the book of Proverbs to the modern world using the technical lingo of today. I'm serious. Whether you're a Christian or not, go read Proverbs. You'll be a better person for it. You'll be better off. Since the decline of birth rates in this country, the tightening of the job market was inevitable. Yeah, declining birth rates is a big problem for a lot of nations. Japan's going through a huge, huge issue with that right now and will for the next 30, 40 years as that balances out. And China is about to jump into that headlong. They had a massive, massive, massive young working class in the 90s, early 2000s, and the early part of the last decade. But now those guys are getting older, and more people are starting to get to the point of retirement or of just not being able to, I mean, people get older. It's just the way nature works, and they're running into a big problem with that. Wow, hit that like button, y'all. It takes less than a Securities and Exchange Commission. No, I'm just kidding. It takes less than a SEC. Thank you. Debt-free, it's the only way. It's the best way, absolutely. Thank you very much, Classic IT, for being a member. Thank you. Jebb is the Jedi Master of technical analysis. I don't know about that, but I do like technical analysis, so thank you. Let's see. Going to go a little bit longer here reading chat, and then we're going to jump into it. We're in an awkward time between the end of the industrial age and beginning of the information age. Old money is making a last grab for cash. Read Alvin Toffler. Toffler. That's a good point. I think that's a very interesting way of looking at it. Good crisis. Yeah, by the way, I'm not saying crises are good. I'm just saying that that's the mantra that people always think of, is never let a good crisis go to waste. I think that that's a horrible way to think about it, because normally crises that are on the geopolitical stage involve people losing either their life savings or their lives, period. So I don't think a crisis is a good thing. I'm just saying that that's kind of the thought process that people have. Good deal. All right, guys. Well, one thing I've been wanting to tell you guys about before we jump into the next bit of news here is none other than a sponsor of our channel, and they are known as BitGet. Guys, if you don't know about BitGet, you absolutely need to. They have this amazing functionality over here called copy trading, and I'm just really, really loving this feature. And a lot of people are making a lot of money with it. It's not always perfect right now that people are down a little bit because the market's being weird. But the point is that you can come over here and follow these different traders where they are making tons of money because they are professional traders that do this every single day. And they have hundreds of people following them. Here, you can see this. For example, there are currently 472 people following Rich over here, and you can have up to 500 people following him. These people that are following them are able to make money off of the different trades that they're making, and they end up making quite a lot of money. You can see them over here. Like, for example, this guy, Principal, has 1,000 people under him. He has made for his traders $1 million in profit over on the P&L. Over here, Jason, this fella's got 300 people following him, has made $754,000, with the copy traders beneath him. This guy, Lucking Boy, $658,000. Vuck Duck Van Long, whatever his name is, made $626,000, $610,000. Massive amounts of money to be made over here. Definitely something you want to check out. Make sure to check out BitGet down below. The first 100 users to sign up will get $10 in USDT for free. So thank you very much to BitGet. We are going to jump into the next part of our technical analysis here. Actually, not so much technical analysis. We're actually doing fundamental analysis now, and we're going to talk about none other than, well, we're going to talk about Twitter, but we're also going to talk about none other than Celsius. So let's go ahead and look at that. Let's start here with Celsius and Bitfinex. I'm sorry, not Bitfinex, Binance. A record 55,000 Bitcoin, or over $1.1 billion, that is 1/40th of a Twitter, was just withdrawn from Binance. Some serious withdrawals are occurring on the world's biggest crypto exchange by volume. Binance finishes the day 55,000 Bitcoin lighter. You might think, oh, Jebb, that's not that much. Well, wait a second. Look at this chart right here. This is Crypto Quant. Exchange net flow, total, Binance. This is the largest withdrawal on a single day that Binance has ever seen. The largest before that being back here in January of 2020, where they saw a 40,000 Bitcoin withdrawal. And by the way, when we saw that withdrawal right here, you can see that's when Bitcoin started pivoting back to the upside. Now, Bitcoin ended up going back down again, but that withdrawal correlated with the bottom. Same thing over here. This massive withdrawal correlated with the bottom. This massive withdrawal correlated with a short-term, actually that correlated with a peak because people were a little bit over exuberant. But the point is, most of the time when you have people withdrawing massive amounts of crypto, and we're talking about a huge whale here. Like, this is not just some random dude that withdrew 55,000 Bitcoin. This is a massive, massive whale that would have to have that kind of money. withdrew 55,000 Bitcoin in several different transactions. It wasn't just one person, but there definitely whale activity going on there. That is a huge bullish piece of information, and it also plays in with this tweet over here that George talked about on his stream yesterday from @Bitcoin. Bitcoin keeps getting withdrawn from exchanges. We just saw a massive drop in the first half of October for the amount of Bitcoin on exchanges. Huge drop-off has just occurred and has been taking place ever since January of 2020. People have been withdrawing money and crypto from exchanges. And similarly to how Bitcoin is inversely correlated with the Dixie, a lot of times when you see, a lot of times it's actually correlated with the amount of cryptocurrency, the amount of Bitcoin on exchanges. Whenever you have a lot of Bitcoin on exchanges, normally the price is very high because you have a lot of noobs there, or a lot of people that are putting money on exchanges to sell it and liquidate it because they want to take profit. Right now, a lot of people are taking Bitcoin off exchanges because they want to hodl it, or because they have just bought it and they want to hold on to it for the long term because they like their entry price. So that is a very encouraging piece of information, but one that's not so much for a certain few individuals around the world is this. Judge orders probe to investigate whether Celsius was a Ponzi scheme. Oof. Yeah, that's an interesting question for sure. By the way, we have a super chat over here. Michael Miller said, Sarah needs some SOAR, XOR. If Sarah want her portfolio to soar past Jebb's, what are your thoughts on this project? I have not looked into that, but Sarah and I, our finances are the same. We're, what's hers is mine, mine is her. We are one. So not necessarily, it doesn't really work that way, but I will look in, I can take a look at that project potentially. Anyway, judge orders probe to investigate whether Celsius was a Ponzi scheme. The federal judge overseeing the Celsius case has asked for an investigation to look into whether the firm acted like a Ponzi. The judge overseeing the Celsius bankruptcy case has ordered the examiner and the official committee of Celsius creditors to determine who will head a probe into whether the firm was operating like a Ponzi scheme. Oof. The order during the November 1st hearings comes in response to allegations from customers that Celsius had used assets of new users to pay yields and facilitate withdrawals to existing users. As a result, fits the legal definition of a Ponzi scheme. The judge has approved the appointment of an independent examiner on September 9th to look into aspects of Celsius's business, following calls for greater transparency into its operations, such as its tax payment procedures and why some customers were moved to different accounts. It's not the first time the embattled lender has been accused of operating like a Ponzi scheme, with decentralized finance protocol KeFi having alleged that Celsius acts like one when it sued Celsius on July 7th. Celsius had filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy on July 13th, citing a crash in crypto values and poor asset deployment decisions, and the case has been proceeding through the court system since. In the November 1st hearing, the federal judge Martin Glenn also told Celsius that they would have to include more details on its October 11th motion to pay nearly $3 million to 62 employees as part of a key employee retention plan, while with Law 360 quoting the judge as saying, "I was shocked when I saw the redactions. I had never seen anyone try to redact everything." Wow. Glenn is referring to a section within the motion that outlines the participants of the bonus, where every detail relating to the individuals available to the public had been redacted, including their salaries and job descriptions. The United States trustee had filed an objection on October 27th to the CURP, taking issue with the lack of identifiable metrics within the motion to warrant such an expensive bonus scheme that it had prevented interested parties from arguing whether some of the participants could be considered insiders and therefore ineligible for a CURP. That sounds pretty sketchy to me. Not going to lie. Now, I don't have all the details. I don't want to just listen to the prosecution and not listen to the defense and make a verdict, but definitely seems a little weird. We're getting a lot of the phrase that Kevin used yesterday that you will see in the interview was pretty interesting. Idiot managers is what he said. We're getting a lot of those knocked out right now, and there are a lot of companies that were not run very well in crypto and were not set up to weather a bear market. They were over leveraged, overexposed to many positions that were too risky, and they got burned. And Celsius was one of them. Three Arrows Capital was another. Core Scientific. Argo Blockchain. These are names that were in too deep. They wanted to compete on a massive level, and they did not set themselves up to succeed by having a 24, 36 month long runway so that they could survive a bear market. And now they're getting burned. And now the people that use those products or invested in those mining companies are getting burned as well. And it's very unfortunate. Hopefully the industry will learn a valuable lesson that unfortunately humans have to learn over and over again. That, as was mentioned earlier, is talked about in Proverbs 22:7. borrower is the servant or the slave, depending on the translation, to the lender. And obviously, we are seeing that play out quite a lot in crypto here, almost like the Bible is the inerrant word of God. Anyway, last thing we're going to talk about here today would be none other than the man, the myth, the Twitter complaint hotline operator himself, Elon Musk, because he has been posting a lot of things over on Twitter. And if you have not seen this, I've been following his Twitter pretty much all day, every day for the last week. If you have not seen what he posted over here, this is pretty interesting. Twitter's current lords and peasants system for who has and who doesn't have a blue check mark is nonsense. Power to the people. Blue for $8 a month. Price adjusted by country proportionate to purchasing power parity. You will also get priority in replies, mentions, and search, which is essential to defeat spam and scam. Ability to post long videos and audio. Half as many ads. And paywall bypass for publishers willing to work with us. This will also give Twitter a revenue stream to reward content creators. There will be a secondary tag below the name for someone who is a public figure, which is already the case for most politicians. This is a factor that a lot of people had been wondering, I wonder what's going to go on with this. He actually is going to keep the blue check mark in a certain way so that it still carries the social clout, if you will, that the blue check mark currently carries. But you're going to be able to get for $8 a month verified on Twitter so that you can prove that you are not a robot. You are, in fact, a human. And that's very valuable because God only knows how many millions of bots there are on Twitter. They are drowning the platform. And just to make sure that you don't get lumped in with the bots, a lot of people would end up spending that money so that they're not thought of as a bot. I did the math yesterday based on the fact that Twitter has 237 million reported, anyway, daily active users. And I tweeted this. Twitter generated $5 billion in revenues in 2021 while losing $221 million. In quarter 2 of 2022, Twitter had 237 million daily active users. Today, 11/1, Elon Musk just said Twitter verification will cost $8 a month, and you're also getting all those other features, by the way. So it's not just verifying that you're a human. It's also all of those other features for $8 a month. If only 1% of all Twitter users, that being 2.37 million users, use this service, then 2.37 million users times $8 a month is $18.96 million US in revenue a month, or $227,520,000 a year in revenue. Realistically, more people will use the service considering the low barrier to entry and useful perks. This combined with the looming 25% staff layoff indicates Twitter profitability soon, which they really need to get in the ballpark of, because I also posted this. This is the net income and loss of Twitter from 2010 to 2021. And, yeah, I think I summed it up pretty well over here. Twitter has sucked at capitalism. Wendy O replied to that, actually saying lol, and it's true. I mean, I understand that a lot of times you want to run especially if you're a tech company, you want to run a pretty down to the wire profit. You might not want to post, depending on your corporate strategy and your stock and your investment, your strategy for relating with investors, you might not want to run this massive profit margin because you just get taxed on it massively, and then you got to pay out, if you're a company that does this, a lot of dividends. However, losing $1.1 billion in 2020, like losing like a 20% loss, that's unacceptable. Losing $600 million, $500 million, $500 million, $400 million, $100 million, being unprofitable 11 out of the last 13 years is unacceptable. It's unacceptable, completely horrendous. And the company has been run so poorly. There's been so much nonsense, middle management going on at Twitter, that having one person come in and run the thing is going to end up making it run a lot better. Now, that being said, I don't want to sit here and act like Elon Musk is the Messiah or that he's this great guy, because he is being... he's overworking people at Twitter. We can definitely say that. He gave some of the people at Twitter 7 days to get this new system for $8 a month membership set up. He gave them 7 days to get it, or they're fired. That's not putting your people first. I understand he's doing a trial by fire for these people, but I mean, look, dude, everybody doesn't want to work 120 hours a week like you do. I get that's all you do, and that you love business, and I admire Elon Musk in a lot of areas, but some people want to spend time with their families too, and also have a corporate job, and that's not a bad thing. So I don't agree with Elon Musk on everything. I want to make that clear because it may have sounded like I've been complimenting him ad nauseum over the last several days, and I definitely don't think he is the best human being alive. He's definitely got his own fair share of faults, as we all do, but I do think that he's going to end up causing Twitter to be a much better product than it was, and frankly, even though I don't think he ought to be working people 85, 90 hours a week, a lot of the people at Twitter probably do need to go on and find a different job, or they need to be given something actually useful and productive to do at Twitter. So that's my 2 cents on that. Funny thing I just saw here, Elon must really be having a great time over there because he updated his Twitter location to say hell. So believe in the Lord, man. You need that. Anyway, he also changed it to say Twitter complaint hotline operator. And this is also something he said that was really funny was, to all complainers, please continue complaining, but it will cost $8. And they said, totally stole the idea of charging for insult. We got Elon Musk over here, Thanos snapping everybody out of their jobs at Twitter. Oh, goodness. I'm very interested to see what Twitter does. And by the way, the numbers I ran, for example, were just an example. If you saw Twitter had 10% of its daily active users using this $8 a month service, you would see not $250 million in revenue. You would see $2.5 billion in revenue, which would already, in one felt swoop, make up that 50% of revenue coming in from the users metric and goal that Elon Musk has for Twitter. And also, I don't have the article up, or I might. I don't know where it is if I do. But one of the former CFOs of Twitter between 2014 and 2018 that currently works for SoFi said Elon Musk got a steal for 44. This was the CFO who was later promoted to the COO, which is in most companies the second in command at a company. So this is not some middle manager. This is the second most important person, most powerful person at Twitter for 4 years talking here. He said that Twitter was a steal at $44 billion, and with one leader, it should be able to be worth hundreds of billions of dollars, indicating that Elon Musk could end up making 10x on his investment if he does certain things with Twitter that he would benefit from, like potentially bringing back Vine, trying to compete with TikTok. If he did manage to compete with TikTok and turn Twitter into what it was supposed to be, Twitter could be a $1 trillion company in 5 years and could have a huge impact on the political zeitgeist of our society for many years to come if Elon does successfully implement a lot of the changes that he does. I am extremely interested to see what happens at Twitter. Obviously, I disagree with some of the working conditions at Twitter, but I think that ultimately, if you're going to work for Elon Musk, well, you got a job there. If you don't like it, you can go somewhere else. That's kind of the way it works in capitalism. So I don't agree with Elon, but at the same time, if you don't like it, look, it's his company now, so he can do what he wants. Ultimately, he needs to be potentially not working people that hard, but is what it is. Definitely not a perfect man, but I suppose none of us are, except the Lord. All right, so let's go ahead and read some chat here for the last several minutes. But before we jump into that, I want to let you guys know about somebody that I have been telling you guys about for over a year, and I'm very excited that they are a partner here of the channel, and they are none other than iTrust Capital. If you guys don't know about iTrust Capital, you need to. They are an incredible company, incredible service, very, very simple service as well. Not dumbed down, but just very simple. What you do with iTrust Capital is that you can bring over your 401ks, your TSPs, your 403bs, your 457s, and your existing IRAs into iTrust Capital, and you can use those IRAs to invest in crypto. How amazing is that? You are able to actually invest in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency using your IRA, utilizing that tax shelter. So we just talked to you about Anthony Price and how he's able to help you with a lot of your tax strategies. Well, iTrust Capital is going to do the exact same thing, because what people don't realize is that their biggest expense in business, in life, and normally in crypto is not spending money on something. It is giving money to the government, giving it over in taxes so that we can go and waste it on the federal level. As I've said for many years, the federal government is better at wasting money than you are, so they need to take it from you so that they can do it for you. iTrust Capital is going to help you to hold on to more of that money by allowing you to utilize some of the benefits that IRAs bring. Make sure to sign up for iTrust Capital using the link in the description box down below, and you will get a $100 funding reward, which I think is a pretty great reward. So check it out. Links down below. Let's read some chat while we wrap out. Somebody said Darth Vader. Where's Darth Vader? Darth Vader's in chat? Heating oil is $5.59 a gallon. Golly. Having no oil reserves or diesel is normal, right? Yeah, totally. Yeah, welcome to 2022. Eduardo Freitas said best channel ever. Thank you. Thank you. By the way, guys, wanted to make a pretty cool announcement here. Drop a 1 in chat if you know who Party in Backyard is. As far as he is the guy that did all of the work with PewDiePie on most of PewDiePie's songs. Well, about 8 months ago, Party in Backyard dropped in chat a super chat saying that he would love to work with me. And that was really interesting to me because that was back around the time that I rapped on stream and you guys thought that was really cool. And so I DM'd him yesterday, and actually I started to DM him, and he saw that, and I didn't send him anything, and then he DM'd me on Twitter. So he and I are talking right now, and, well, he actually put together a track, and I'm not going to show you today, but I want you to tell me, do you want to see the little sample track that he put together for me? Tell me in chat if you would like to see that. I'm going to make it a poll. I'm going to make it a poll. Show the... I'm going to ask the community because I don't know. A lot of people are saying no, so I don't know. Jebb, would you ever do a meetup in the metaverse? Maybe. Oh my goodness. I'm going to have to see that yes be really high because I am like the exact opposite of gangster. Total opposite. Like I'm completely on the other end of the spectrum. But I'd love to see what you guys think. Wow, 77% of people are saying yes. Crypto Alchemist says it's just me saying no. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, maybe I can play it on stream tomorrow. Hit that yes if you'd like me to do it. If you'd like me to show it on stream. He actually did a full thing. He did like a 40-second clip yesterday, and then he did the whole thing, which I haven't even had a chance to listen to yet. And it was just a video I shot on my phone that he edited. Can Yoda rap? I feel you can. Yoda can rap. You got that rap, though? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I was telling him how much I like country music, and he's like, man, I've never done anything country, but I'm willing to try. So who knows? Who knows? Oh, chat's hilarious right now. Guys, make sure to smash that like button. We got 500 likes. Let's go ahead and get that like button up to 750 before we wrap it out here. Seems like everybody wants to see it, or at least upload as a video later. Jebb, you're the OG. No, I'm not the OG, but I've been around for a while, at least in crypto. Really appreciate all of you tuning in. DJ Jazzy Jebb, Shannon Sharp said. Christian rap. Show it. Everybody wants to see it. 80% of people said yes. Okay, we'll see. I might show you tomorrow. There's no video to it. It's just the track. Yes, we want to see it. We want to have fun while we learn. I agree, guys. I like having fun while we learn. I think we had a great show today. I really do. I think we dug deep into it. Look up Lecrae. Yeah, Lecrae makes good music. I like NF also. And Party in Backyard is a big fan of NF. So yeah, tell me, like, all the big songs that PewDiePie's done have been done by Party in Backyard. Cumulatively, all those songs have over 1 billion views. So the dude's got some clout. Like, he's not like an upstart producer. Like, yeah. Jebson, I see you on stream again. Resubscribed. You would rock the Christian rap world. Oh my gosh. I hardly ever listen to rap. I listen to country, but everybody wants me to rap because I talk quickly. Like, I like some rap, like a couple of different artists, but that's not even my main interest in music, but everybody thinks it is. The rapture. Oh. Dropped a couple drums and a cymbal. How about that? All right. Well, 78% of people said they wanted to see it, so we just might do that. Guys, we're over time. Make sure to check out all of our links in the description box down below. Make sure to go ahead and sign up for I Trust Capital. Go check out Anthony Price. Sign up for BitGet. Make sure you get Lux Algo. Links in the description box down below for that. You can get 20% off with Jebb at checkout. JEBB is a coupon code at checkout for Lux Algo. Thank you guys for all of your support. Really appreciated. Will you be changing the channel name back to Crypto Jebb? Yes, I'm hunting down the branding in all of our files. We have a gigantic file system, so I'm trying to find it, but I will more than likely be changing that back today, actually. But yes, the branding will be going back to the good old Crypto Jebb branding. Do you think the end of times is happening now? I think it'll happen this century. Classic IT guy said, have a blessed day. Guys, absolutely. Thank all of you for tuning in as always. But guys, make sure to follow me on Twitter also. You can go ahead and find those links down below. Before I go though, guys, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching as always. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.